Look, ladies, the UFC was doing user-generated content before it was cool. If you want to play the game and build that big brand name privilege like Sean O'Malley, you need to build that brand and focus on your celebrity. In 2011, Dana White hired a PR team to teach over 300 fighters how to use social media effectively to do their own promotion for the promotion, as if their end of the bargain wasn't hefty enough. Suddenly there were additional bonuses on the line if they sent the right tweets, said the right things, got more people, more hype for their fights, sold more tickets and pay-per-views. Smart, yes. Unreasonable, potentially. The downfall of the sport, well, it was already turning into pro wrestling before that, so maybe it was just the final straw that put that camel well and truly into the grave. I don't know. What I do know is that camel has well and truly rotted away now and left maggots of disgusting, over-the-top self-promotion, including fighters like Justin James, who bet their entire fight purse on themselves and then lose. But in the process of doing so, garner all that delicious media attention. So was it just a massive marketing ploy to play the long game? Remember that whole freaking dolly thing with Conor on the bus?
Where's Conor? He wanna fight with Bass?
Well, Michael Chiesa believes that was a big old publicity stunt and sued for his trouble. Chiesa was on the bus and his argument was that the whole kerfuffle drove up interest in the Conor-Khabib fight, but also in sales of Proper 12. And he said that all of those profits should be handed over to the victims, those that were injured in the attack, because there's a law in New York that states people cannot profit off of illegal activity. And speaking of maggots, Chael Sonnen and Gareth A. Davies almost very much pushed this idea of self-promotion beyond its limits by getting right just the step before staging a fake fight and coming through the curtain at the UFC Fight Night Machida versus Munoz weigh-ins. They said that they were just like seconds from doing it and the whole idea was to cause a stir and get people talking. But they decided against it last minute because they thought Uncle Dana might not be that pleased about it. But he only has himself to blame. He is encouraging them to feel as though they need to do shit like that to keep their jobs. Now, today there are still some fighters who push back against this whole idea of shameless self-promotion, but there are many that lean into it like a creep at a party, and there is no party creeper creepier than Big Mouth Kevin Holland. From running around saving ordinary citizens from perfume thieves, car thieves, gunmen, etc., to being the definition of a gamer and taking that last minute matchup against Khamzat Chimaev. Breaking news. I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Ooh, I've been on the flex since flex zone. Neighborhood all in your eardrums. I ain't never scared.
What in the Reese's peanut butter fuck is going on here?
My line busy, take no calls. Feels like I don't have no flaws. Snakes in the grass, cut those off. Yo, squad shady, my bros raw. No breaks, we go, 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 go. Don't shade, that's a no, 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 no.
To retiring for a total of 5 minutes. Kevin Holland Holland lives his life as if it's one big trailer for his next opportunity. He says he genuinely did think it was the end of the road when he announced his retirement, despite the fact that the rest of us were all a little bit suspicious, weren't we? Dana even went on record to say that he was just a little bit emotional and he'd be back. But then Kevin doubled down, saying that unless something super duper magical appeared on his doorstep, that was that. And he's by no means the only fighter to get chins wagging by faking his own retirement. It's such an easy way to get people talking about you without having to actually put any work in. It's like how John Jones keeps popping up and saying, I'm alive, I'm still a dick. I'll fight. I'm gonna fight, guys. Guys, I might fight, guys. Paul Felder announced his retirement following his loss to Dan Hooker, and then in an interview with Helwani he was like, I'm not fully retired. Then he was like, no, I'm not retired at all when the RDA opportunity came up. Hamzat said he was done after COVID took him down and held him down longer than any man on earth has ever been able to. Dana had a fucking heart attack, didn't he? Saw all those dollar signs just disappearing. And soon we were watching as Hamzat picked up the leech and delivered him to his boss's doorstep like a good little domesticated wolf. Randy Couture retired at 42 after losing to Chuck Liddell for the second time. Makes sense. Apparently didn't make sense to 43-year-old Couture, who came back to defeat Tim Sylvia and get his goddamn belt back. And Conor has retired almost as many times as he's been arrested. I believe the current count is at 4. 4 retirements, 4 comebacks. That's more than Arnie.
I'll be back.
And for Holland, the super duper magical thing that brought him running back like a liver slap to a chihuahua was Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Literally just hours after that podcast was released of him saying, no, I'm done. The UFC announced the matchup hours after. Kevin's response? Funny fucker. After he just said it was too good to pass up. After all, he did say something wonderful. What's more wonderful than Wonderboy? It's a good opportunity for Holland, the number 7 ranked, when he was previously, before the whole Hamzat debacle, was supposed to be fighting the number 14. Taking that Hamzat smothering was a favour in the bank. Which is another reason why his retirement, to me at least, didn't hold much weight, because why? Why would he do that to himself and then not cash in on that favour later? Kevin has described this as a kung fu versus karate matchup, and we should all be excited about seeing these two strike it out. In fact, he says that he plans on knocking Thompson out, and I can believe it. I see it ending with a Holland right hand, a homage to the Anthony Pettis fight, and I shall tell you for why. I know. Thompson, elite striker. But here's the thing, Pettis beat him through sheer wildness and spirit. And that is a wildness that Holland keeps very close to his squishy little heart centre. A wildness that someone as technical and nice and mild-mannered as Thompson can never hope to house for themselves, or potentially not even prepare for. It's a risk, but it's also a possibility that Kevin Pettis' Stephen. These two are both coming in off a loss, but Holland's was a sacrificial lamb to save an entire UFC card, so his doesn't really count.
Is this a better fight for you?
Fuck no, but it's gonna be a fun one.
Before that, he'd been looking really good at his new weight class, beating both Alex Oliveira and Tim Means. Thompson has lost his last 2, but against much higher level competition in Bilal Muhammad and Gilbert Burns. And he didn't look bad by any means, he just didn't have that special juice, that je ne sais quoi, that joie de vivre, that final push to victory. Holland's got the height advantage and one hell of a reach advantage at 6 inches. Well, Thompson is a master of managing distance, but that reach advantage is definitely going to help Holland land. We've seen it so many times with Holland, like his opponent thinks they're sitting pretty out of the danger zone, and then he throws one of them Mr. Tickle arms and they ain't so pretty anymore. And everyone jokes about Holland's wrestling, and yes, he never stood a chance against Hamzat, but he can wrestle offensively. He's put in the work and we've seen improvements. So if he is struggling against Thompson's kicks and striking, which he probably will, he could take this to the ground. Don't count him out. Oh my god, I'm in so much pain. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see it, because despite his advancing years, Thompson is weird and unpredictable. He's such a dynamic striker, and it is hard to prepare for that kind of fighter and hard to find sparring partners that can emulate his movement and striking and dynamism. This could be a really close fight, but Holland might just take it with his physicality, youth, and the fact that he's been a lot more active than Thompson. And if he wins, he shoots up to like number 7 in the ranking. This is that huge opportunity, that favour in the bank. This is why he took that fight, and we should all hope that he is going to seize this opportunity with both hands. You don't get handouts like this very often. This is what he's been doing all his marketing for. Come on, lad. He took the weight of that card on his shoulders. He took on one of the most feared fighters in the entire world. He took a huge hit to his ego, and now he needs to take hold of this opportunity. But Stephen Thompson is about to turn 40. He's already involved in other ventures outside of competing. You have to wonder, boy, if this is his last run. That was good, admit it. Admit it, that was good. There's a lot at stake either way, but the real question is whether Holland wins or loses, where does he go after this? He said he doesn't even want to show up against wrestlers, and this division is full of the hookers. So let me know in the comments, and like, subscribe, come follow me on Instagram and get involved on Twitter, and I will see you next week because we've got another frickin' main event to talk about. Lord almighty. Ciao bella!